Welcome to Alberta Football Uncensored. I'm your host, Teej Johannesson. With me, as always, my co-host, Omari Fraser. Omari, we've got obviously a ton to talk about today. We're going to go over. This is going to be kind of our season wrap-up episode. We've got one more game tomorrow, which actually has some big playoff implications for the Irish and the Cowboys. Everything else is pretty much set or is set. So we'll talk about our standings, playoff scenarios. We'll talk about the Gators and Irish round one, which happened a couple weeks ago. We'll preview the game tomorrow. We'll talk about the Cowboys upsetting the Jets, which I predicted on the Alberta Football League Facebook forum, and everyone kind of laughed at me. We'll talk about the Irish and Pack game, which was definitely the game of the year, as it should be with that rivalry. And then, we'll talk about the game tomorrow and the playoffs coming up. So I guess let's first talk about our game. So we'll start with what I believe is, and I think most people that saw it and were at the game and then heard about the score would say would be the game of the year. So, coming into that game, obviously the Irish and the Pack have a big rivalry. I mean, for me, this is obviously my first year in the Irish Pack rivalry, but the Bucks have always had a big rivalry with the Pack, and I've been on the Bucks side playing the Pack, and then for 1 year I was on the Pack side playing the Bucks, and I'm on the Irish playing the Pack. And I am happy to say that since losing to you guys in 2019 in the final minute, by the way, sweet revenge last week. I'm undefeated in any matchup involving my teams in the Pack, including when I was on the Pack playing the Bucks. In all those matchups, Pack, Bucks, and Irish Pack, I'm undefeated since 2019. Talk about it from your perspective. You guys going into that game, it had some standing implications for you. You guys were obviously fired up and ready to go. What was kind of the attitude for you guys going into that game? Probably being, I would say, probably at least 10-point underdogs going into that game, the way that things had kind of transpired throughout the year. We beat the Cowboys 40-0. You guys had lost to the Cowboys, albeit it was a road game. But it looked like you guys were just playing with nothing to lose and had a mentality across the board that you guys could really win that game.
Yeah, and that's the tough thing where I know we'll discuss the end, but just leading to that week, we knew, hey, we matched up really well. Just with like how other games have gone, where like against the Jets, where it's always been close games, and like knowing that, hey, we just need to finish because we can hold through with the Jets, we can definitely hold through with the Irish, and that was something that, and we as a team we were talking about and knew going in, and like game plan wise, it was a case where, hey, we're gonna have, I think that Cowboys game was tough because I wasn't there and Darrell wasn't there, and I know Darrell plays a bigger part in the offense than I do, just with the sense of like Darrell's on the ball, but it's just with like a lot of leadership was lost, and guys went out and played. But this is definitely a great game to where we were able to have myself, Darrell, Maxine, a few others that helped contribute to the team, all there back now. Stampede was done, the tents were done, all those responsibilities were all taken care of. So it was nice to have it all back together. So we knew, like, hey, we're all here. We can go out and win and go. The one thing I think we knew, and I think as a result of the game, was you knew you guys are a strong running team. We knew, like, hey, we need to at least slow down the run game, which I don't think we did. Maybe to be honest about it. But when I overall now looking at it from the game, we both played into our strengths. Us on the pass side, you guys on the run side, and it was just a game of back and forth. Defense making some stops here and there. But I think the real key when I look back at the film, and I guess that will result in the end of it, was special teams. You guys really executed on a high level on special teams, where adding pressures, adding his overall execution, getting the ball placement deep. I know we were quite concerned with how our last game went with the Gators, where we got gashed for like 4 onside and all that. So we were overprotecting there, and I don't necessarily agree with how he approached that, but it was just a case where, we were running an offense, you guys were running an offense, defense made their stops, special teams really came to that side, that deciding factor, and it leaned over to Irish side as we all know, because you guys are getting pressure, you guys got great returners back there, and that's just one now where it's a good learning lesson, because it really emphasizes us as a team where, sure, we can be Darrell's right arm all we want, but when he's off the field, we still got to play ball. So, it was good. it was good. I like how the team played. Guys stepped up, and I think that's from both sides. Guys stepped up in all places, and you know, I think I made a comment saying everyone got their money's worth that game, playing
Mm-hmm.
or watching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's funny because you're somebody who talks about special teams quite often on this podcast and how important it is to the game. And you're right. I think that game really showed that there's multiple ways to score points and to win games. Like, we obviously very much relied on our run game. LJ Dyer is a true superstar in this league. In his first year from the London Beefeaters, he was voted to like the top 10 or the top team, CGFL team of all time. Like, that's how good this guy is.
Mm-hmm.
He's come in and really shown that he's just a tank, right? The way he runs, he's not going to kill you with like 4.2 speed or anything like that, but he's powerful, he's strong, he's so smart when he hits the holes. He knows how to hit, he knows how to cut, he knows how to read defenses, and he really he's a guy that you can't really shut out. You can kind of stop him for 2-3 yards here, but he's going to break those 14, 15, 30-yard runs on you, and there's not a lot you can do about it. Like, he's going to get his, and our offensive line is also really good and talented and does a good job. And, we can't pass the ball right now. Our starting quarterback got hurt. He's been kind of hurt all year. And our backup just, unfortunately, just is not quite, I think, where we need him to be. So I think teams know that we're not a team that can pass the ball. And it's frustrating because obviously we've got some really high end skill at receiver, and starting with Vardo and Sagan, and I'm there as well. I haven't been able to come to practices, but I will be in the playoffs, and hopefully, getting into that receiving core in the playoffs and really bumping that up and having 3 studs out there. But we do have to have a guy that can get us the football. So hopefully we can figure that out and help LJ out a little bit, because if we can get the passing going even 50% better than it is right now, that's really going to open up our run game. Like, teams can really kind of stack the box and try to stop us on the run. But if we can do that, I think we can really make some noise in the playoffs. The other thing too is, like, with the special teams is I actually noticed your very strange kickoff formation or kickoff return formation. I was like, right away, they've got 12 guys within 10 yards of the football. Like, it was the weirdest. And I was like, there's a massive gap over top of that you can just plunge it into. But obviously the onside kick had kind of scared you. And then when we had to run an onside kick, I actually made a really good kick that we almost got, even though you had like 15 guys there ready to get it. But that was an interesting call for sure.
And that was one thing too where I didn't necessarily agree with it, because I was like, you're leaving. We don't do. You can only really light up in that formation if you do a really good job picking up guys right away in that first 10 to 12 yard, 10 to 15 yard box. We don't do a good job of that, which leaves then no blockers for at least 5 guys to go unfree to the returner. The returner's basically going to catch the ball and say, I got to juke out 5 guys.
Yeah,
it's not really optimal. So I know we played into our fears of, Gators gashed us. Irish could probably gash because we were thinking of you and guys and Yusuf as well, who could also place the ball really well with onside. So we're like, all right, what do we play? When we went with that, but hopefully now we can, I'm going to be putting my foot down on a few things just with that, because I'm like, hey, we do that, like it we're just going to get burned again, right? Starting on our 20 and then leaving it to where Darrell's got to then march the field 80 or so, how many yards to score. So if we can get some improvement there, it really helps.
Yeah, and speaking of Darrell, I gotta say, like, I was so impressed with the game that he played. Like, that's the best version of Darrell Easton I've seen in a long time. And I've played against him my entire career, which is now 15 years, 16 years in this league. And I played with him for 1 year. I know how good he is, but man, he was throwing the ball. Like, there was, I've asked Anton to let me cover the team's best receiver, so I was sitting on Peter all game, and there was 2 deep balls that Peter caught on me that when I look back at the film, there's almost nothing that I can do differently in coverage. Like, I am running the route with him. Now we have our thing is inside shade, and so I'm inside of him. I'm running with him. Like, he's got no steps on me. But by the time, like, there's a couple things that Darrell does really well. One, he gets the ball out incredibly quickly. So as a DB, when you've got a go route and the ball's coming out so fast, you have no time. I can't look back at the ball. So I'm trying to play through the hands, right? But that ball was thrown so perfectly to the outside shoulder of Peter that it made it literally impossible for me to even get my hand in there. Like, I'm watching because in game I was pretty frustrated because like I don't give up deep balls. It's just not something that I do. And I'm like, am I like, what is happening? Because you don't really know. Like, I'm like, I think he's placing it. Am I losing him? Like, what's going on? So I'm looking back on the film and like in both these routes, you can't even see Peter running the route because I'm inside shade of him and running right beside him. And all you see is me. But then all of a sudden, the ball goes over my head, over Peter's head, to his outside shoulder, and Peter did a great job of making that catch. It is such a low percentage throw that Darrell was just putting in the perfect spot multiple times. It got to the point where in the fourth quarter, was like, I went outside shade. Because I couldn't play inside shade with those types of throws. And I, obviously as a corner, and most corners would know this, I don't love playing man defense in outside shade because there's a risk now that you're going to give up the quick inside route, and you play inside shade because that outside throw is really difficult. But I was like, I have to go outside shade. And then Darrell tried to attack me again, and I was able to knock one down in the fourth quarter and then knock another one down on a post route in the fourth quarter. But it was frustrating for me, and but then I just had to give kudos, and I wanted to do it on the podcast to Darrell because those throws were incredibly elite. Like, we're talking like they're the professional quarterback, NFL, CFL elite throws. Like there are guys in the NFL and CFL that can't make that throw on a consistent basis. Like, perfectly placed, quick out of his hands, perfect amount of arc to it, right? Because it's coming out so quick. There's a tendency that he's going to overthrow that deep route because the receiver doesn't have time to get there. But the arc on the football was so perfect that he was able to not only get it there, but put it in the perfect spot. And it just incredibly impressive from a guy that's 50-something years old and coming off broken leg and coming off some health issues, just throwing absolute darts all game long. So kudos to Darrell, man. I was incredibly impressed, and I don't think he gets enough credit. Yeah, I think people are kind of sick and tired, like, oh yeah, Darrell's doing there. The stuff that I saw was the best quarterback play that I've really ever seen in this league, maybe outside of Brandon Lay. But it just, and obviously Jordan Heather is a good quarterback, and Chris Merchant a good quarterback, but those throws were incredible and undefendable passes, and props to Peter too for having really late hands. Peter did a great job. If you're a receiver, practice having late hands because, like, as the DB on inside shade, and because I know Darrell gets it out quick, I know I've got, and he's so accurate, I don't have time to look back to the ball, so I'm always trying to play through the hands. But Peter did such a good job of having late hands. It just, between the throw and the late hands from Peter, those two were just really on a page, and I know you've obviously seen it, through in practice and stuff, but are you seeing a difference in him? Like, was that just a game he just hates the Irish that much, where he just went full bore and just played amazing? But it wasn't just those throws too, right? Like, he was dialing it in all game long.
All game long, and that was the thing where when I just looked, when like he was passing, like when I looked at our stat sheets, like he got the ball to like seven other receivers, like it was Peter, Carter, Tim, another guy on the team named Adam, Zev, myself, like Lucas as well. Like, he was just putting it where he knows. And like, thing with Darrell, he was just reading. Like, everyone knows his offense is what it is, just all that, but he knows it so well to the point where he's like, "You're doing this, I'm doing this. You're doing that, I'm doing that." Like, it's all those things there. And it's funny because I was looking at the play sheet. Like, we were like, when I look at it, like we only got 10 rushing yards. Which is crazy because then you look at you guys got 362 rushing yards, right? But then again, it's just a game of the strength there, where I'm like, man, if we were able to add like 50 yards, 60 yards, something like that on the rushing side, it just maybe that could have changed the game, or just like gone those downs there. But Darrell threw for 485 yards.
It's just, I didn't know that was the number, but that's just ridiculous. And multiple touchdown passes too, including one to yourself on.
Yeah.
And I fucking knew that play was coming too, by the way. I knew that fucking play was coming. The old under center, fake the handoff, Omari out, and I was like, I knew it was coming. We were in man, so there's nothing I could do about it. But I just had a feeling. I had a feeling that they were going to run that little leak play because the thing is Darrell doesn't want to give up passing touchdowns. He doesn't want to let a running back score the touchdown, right? So I try to tell my guys that. I'm like, he doesn't want to give it to the running back. He wants to throw it in there. He wants his numbers, which I respect and I appreciate. But he had to have had like what, 4, 5, 6 touchdown passes. Like he had to have like, I don't know,
6 touchdown passes because we had 6 on the team, 3 to Lucas, myself for 1, Adam, and then I believe Peter or Carter. I don't know if Carter got it. I think Carter got the 6th one. But it was it was all over the place. Alex Mercatcher, I botched his last name, but it was definitely a game where the receivers came out to play, and frankly, they needed to, because it's different when you look at the running into the pass game, and I talk about that because it's just part of like how I guess the two teams' identities, like we've had 2 weeks without Darrell, 2 weeks without Darrell. Our pass game, our offense was literally just non-existent. No offense to any of the quarterbacks who were in, but like it just lacked the command, the structure, and the what's the best way to put it? The direction,
the continuity,
the continuity, the direction. So it's tough to see, and this is the one thing now where like I was telling Darrell, I was like, you played in 4 games. And you're already leading the league in passing.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. Then again, look at his attempts. Like I'll read off the stat here just for Darrell before we transition here. But it's like you got 93 completions, 163 attempts, 1,177 yards, 12 TDs, 10 interceptions, 57 completion rate. That's just a very gunslinger offense. I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know if it's like a case where like Brett Favre is cut from the line of like the gunslinger route where it goes Darrell Easton, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, or something like that. But like it's straight gunslinger mentality.
Well, and it was coming out of his hands hot, and like he had mustard on the ball. There was tight. Like he threw some like middle routes, like post routes, slants that were just like zipping in there with no wobble, like perfect spirals. I remember there was one touchdown that our halfback Caleb got beat on. He actually bid on. He bid on because you guys love running the running backs late, and he was they had hit you for one, and then he was watching you, and then got kind of beat by the post in man. But the throw still was just like I was watching it, just like whoa, they're just zipping it by. So he was feeling it. I mean, 400 something yards, 6 touchdowns is just insane. And I think he did throw 3 picks. But I mean, you're gonna do that when you put the ball in the air 40 times or whatever it is. Like sometimes you're gonna throw a pick. And Cam had a good day for us there too, catching some picks. And one was a tip deflection too. Number 14 on your team was a pretty good receiver. I think that was his number. He had a pretty good game. Found a way to get open quite a bit there.
Yeah, Carter, our slender man. I call him a slender man because you look at him, but he's so technically sound where he knows where he's got to be. I think in the beginning of the game when Cam was getting him in the midsection for the seams poster trying to hit. This is where I was like, I love Carter there, but we need like a big body receiver just to be able to like catch that. And just like tank the hit that comes, because then it's just like, oh, like it bounces off. And we do have a receiver actually, Trey, but he's on a business trip in BC, so he won't be eligible. He's not gonna be back at all for the games. But like he's that kind of body style we like, because I find for Darrell, it's body. It's like different skill sets really fit well in his offense. Where I think a bigger body receiver. You might remember do you remember when we had in like 2018-19 we had a receiver named Zach. He was a taller receiver. I know Zach. Yeah. And he did a receiver. And he was in that slot position. He could then catch the ball as Derek put it a little higher, and he could tank it and then just shrug it off. So that's where, next year, that'll be next year's thing. But, it's definitely, I think, game of the year for everybody because, despite it all being how it ended for us, which is not good, but I think that's a game where like fans left excited, everyone left excited outside of us, but it's a very high product game of like, that's a game that, would have done really well on TV or something like that, I think.
Well, 100%. It was the up and down game the whole time. There was frustrations on both teams. There was jubilation by both teams. I thought like we were down, I think by 10, and then we came back to take the lead by 4, and then you guys scored a touchdown with a minute left in the game, or a minute 19 left in the game, and it was just a stupid, like, it was 3rd and 10, and your guy caught a 2-yard pass and then basically evaded all 12 of us on defense, ran across the entire field, and then Darrell Easton led him into the end zone. Yeah, it's just crazy. And I'm like, did Darrell Easton really beat me again in the last minute of the game? Like, am I reliving this nightmare right now? It doesn't matter where I go, Darrell Easton's coming to do last minute marches to win games, and he dialed it up. Like, he diced our defense up there on that drive to score. But then obviously we get the ball back, turn it over, I think we turned it over. I think we threw a pick, and then you guys got the ball, called the timeout with 9 seconds left. And obviously I'm assuming the plan was to punt that out of bounds, or like, what was kind of going on in your team with that situation? I know, so I guess the caveat is you guys actually have a really good punter, but he got hurt earlier in the game. He got just leveled on either a bad snap or something like that. So he was out of the game. So you had Memphis in there cold, having to punt. What did you tell Memphis? Like, what was the plan with your team there? Was it kick it out of bounds? Was it? I honestly thought that he would turn around and run backwards and take a safety. Or the other thought was that I thought that he would take the snap and just throw it as far as he could, because obviously Memphis has got quite the arm. I think there's a couple scenarios there, but was the plan for him to kick it out of bounds there?
I think it was, and this is now where I didn't know. I was on the field, so I didn't know what come up the sideline, what it was, and they were thinking, okay, like, punt. We had it in our center, we're gonna always punch it away from Sagoon, and I think that was the one that went to him, right? The one that went to him there, and it's a case too where I think all game we were having troubles getting proper protection. Where I think maybe Memphis felt a little rushed, had to get the punt off, because obviously getting the punt off is more important than trying to place it. Because if you guys get the block, you guys are gonna get the ball, run plays, touchdown. So I think Memphis was just probably thinking, hey, get the ball off and go. And then also think too, when I look at our coverage downfield, I didn't do a good enough job flaring out. Like, if you watch the film, like, I was running down, and this is now where I saw Sugun Kenny semi angle. I take literally a horizontal angle, and you block Carter right into my path, and like cuts me off. Just like, it wasn't like a big hit, but just enough to where then I might have to think, I'll go just push him out of bounds. I don't need to attack him, just push him out of bounds. They get the ball back, and they're gonna try and pass. We feel confident with their defense, our pass defense. But, just got a U block card just enough for me, and Sagoon's just there, unbroken stride, and he's a great athlete. So I'm like, all right, he's gone. And when I look back at like the coverage on it was absolutely atrocious. So that's one thing where I think for the first half of practice, yesterday, we just, all right, guys, rip the Band-Aid off, punt. We're covering this shit right now.
It's it's one of those things, right, where I think 99 times out of 100, obviously we don't score a touchdown on that punt return, and you guys win that game. It was funny because I was at that point, like, going into the fourth quarter, I was pretty upset at my own game, because like I don't give up pass completions, let alone two deep balls. Now luckily I didn't give up a TD. I was able to make the tackles on those deep balls because I was running stride for stride with them. Just great throws and great catches, but that still annoyed me. So I was pretty like angry most of the game, like just at my own play. I didn't feel like I was playing up to par, up to my expectations. And so I went to Sagan, and like I was playing corner. I was just supposed to block the receiver. So I actually told Josh, I said, I'm going to go back, and I don't even want to return this punt. Sagan's the guy for it, but I'm just going to tell Sagan to follow me. And I'm going to take all my rage into blocking. And anyone that knows me obviously understands I'm not the most physical player in the world. I don't enjoy having to make tackles. It's not something that I like doing. I'll do it if I have to. I wouldn't say I'm a great blocker. It's not something that I'm that's a super skill of mine by any means. But I had a lot of rage in me, and so I went to Sagan right before it, and I said, catch the ball and follow me. And it just worked out perfectly, where as soon as he caught the ball, you can kind of see on the film, I'm looking at him to make sure he scoops it up, and I kind of wave at him to come. I see that he's coming my way. I turn. The first guy I see was number 14, and I just ran as fast as I could, full speed into him, chested him up, and luckily he's kind of a smaller guy, like he's smaller than me, so I was able, and you can see on the film, like right as you're coming, I didn't know you were there. This was a total fluke, right? But I pushed him, and he flew backwards, and he hit you, which stopped you, and then it allowed me to actually step in front of you, and I kind of got like two hands on you, but it was because he flew backwards right into your path. And so I kind of had this like 2-for-1 block, which was obviously the greatest block I've ever made in my life, which was the key block to spring Sagan down the sideline.
Part of me too was thinking, all right, I see you, and I'm like, okay. I was like, okay, I can't. I was like, all right, do I go for the absolute just like blow block? I know I can't. It's like this is now in the moments where I'm like, can you just get outside shoulder and just force Sagan back inside? Just force him back inside, and even then, with that block you made, I'm like, threw me off. But I'm like looking back, I'm like, I gotta be better on that. So that's one that I'll eat, and then there's always going to be redemption down the road. But one other aspect, too, I think, for this game that was quite unique, and I think both everyone had to pay attention of, the scoreboard didn't work because of the rain. So we're all like, what's the time? What's the count? And, like, I think that's kind of what, like, helped make the game what it was, because, like, yes, we kind of know the score, but, like, are we up? Are they up? Hey, let's play ball. And we were just balling both sides.
That was so messed up because I don't know how many times I had to ask what the score was, because you can't keep track. You don't keep track in your mind because it's not a habit, right? You always look at the score. So you like look at the score, but there's no score. I'm like, are we up? Are we down? And like, what's going on here? Like, and especially with how much time was left, right, at the end of the game. Like when you guys scored that touchdown, I'm like, is there 30 seconds left? Like how much time left? And the ref's like, there's a minute 19 left. So you told us, and I was like, okay, minute 19. Like we can figure it out. But yeah, just a heck of a football game, I think, for everyone involved. That's how I wish all the games in our league were. I hope that the game tomorrow is like that. Obviously, the Gators. I don't think the Gators have had a game that's been within 30 points since they've come back in the league last year. They've just blown everybody out. But let's move into that now. So let's talk about that game tomorrow. So we got Irish Gators, the only game of the week. Had the Cowboys lost to the Jets, the game tomorrow would not matter. But because there was that big upset win, Cowboys, congrats to the Cowboys. Like I said, I predicted that. I wasn't super confident about it, but I predicted that there might be something, just because I don't love the Jets team and I knew Rayshawn wasn't going to be there. So I don't really love their offense, and the Cowboys have a good defense. I was like, maybe the Cowboys can squeak it out, and they ended up being a higher scoring game than I thought. I think the Cowboys got a new quarterback, or had a quarterback show up that wasn't there when they played us, but obviously did well. And I haven't looked at that film yet, but now that means that this game means something. So for those that don't know, it's pretty simple. If right now the Gators have locked up first, they're 5-0. The Jets are done at 4-2. Grand Prairie is done at 4-2. And right now the Irish are sitting at 3-2. So the Wolfpack are sitting locked into fifth. The Bucks are locked into sixth. So there's a two-way tie for second. Both Cowboys and Jets are at 4-2. But the Cowboys have the tiebreak, which is head-to-head. So if they're technically second right now, with the Jets third. If the Irish are to win tomorrow and go to 4-2, we'd have three teams tied for second at 4-2. Now, it can't go head-to-head because we beat the Cowboys, the Jets beat us, and the Cowboys beat the Jets. So everyone kind of beat each other. So the tiebreaker becomes or against differential between the three teams tied, which the Irish have that tiebreak because we beat GP by 40. We lost to the Jets by like 10 or 11.
Oh.
So we're plus 30 in those games. Obviously, the Cowboys are minus something, and the Jets are like plus 6 or something like that. So the Irish have the tiebreak in that three-way tie, which means if they can get to 4-2 and win tomorrow, they'd finish second and get that first round bye. And then the Grand Prairie would actually fall to fourth because they would be the third place team in that.
So that's one thing I guess that clarifies for those listening. Like it's per game differential, not not season differential.
No. It's between the three teams tied. So it's head-to-head point differential between the three teams tied. So none of the other games matter, points for, points against, which is how that makes sense, right? Three teams tied, what's the point differential? The Irish are plus 30 in those three games. The Jets are like plus 15, and the Cowboys are like minus 30 or something like that. So the Cowboys would drop to fourth. The Irish would go to second. The Jets are locked into third. So the only thing that is to play for is second and fourth. If the Gators win, then Irish go to fourth, and then we'll host the Wolfpack in the first round again, which obviously would be another great game, I'm certain. If the Irish win, then they would get a first round bye, and then the Pack would travel to GP for the quarterfinal game. So looking at this game, and I guess I'll talk a little bit about the first game we played them. So obviously, the Gators are huge favorites. I'm interested to see, and I know there's a pride thing with the Gators. I know they don't want to lose. They want to keep their undefeated streak going. At the same time, they do have to, and I joked about this a little bit, but it is kind of serious. You do have to balance a little bit. You know, you've got nothing to play for in the standings. If you lose, you're first. If you win, you're first. You got to keep your guys healthy, and I think that's really important. You want to keep your key guys healthy. So I'm interested to see how long their starters stay, if certain starters aren't there, if certain starters don't start. I'm interested to really see kind of the game flow with that. So that might be a slight advantage for the Irish if the Gators decide to maybe rest some people and kind of go from there. I think that they'll probably start with other guys because I think there is a little bit of pride thing about getting that win. But the big thing for us is like that first game, the passing game was pretty much non-existent from the Gators. And I think they didn't have Chris Merchant there. I assume Chris will be there tomorrow, so that will obviously help.
He's back. He's back
Africa.
already, and I've been seeing some clips from him at practice. So
yeah, so I assume Chris will be back tomorrow, which will obviously boost their passing game. But the biggest thing, my takeaway from that first game, you know, the score was 18-1 at half for the Gators. Obviously, our offense has not been where it needs to be, especially our passing game. Like, we probably are the worst passing team in the league right now. But our running game can definitely do it. But obviously, you're not going to beat a team like the Gators by running the ball all the time. Like, they can plan for that. They've got ballers all over their defense. Mm-hmm. You got to be able to sprinkle in the pass. But the biggest thing for me is, like, Bryce Harper is the guy. Like, this guy, obviously we've got a great running back, LJ Dyer, on our team too, and I'm glad to have him. But, you know, having a field eye view of Bryce, and I've played against him a couple times in my career when he was in Fort Mac and stuff like that. I feel like he's gotten better, like, as he's gotten older. And he was, I almost felt like I was, like, in awe a little bit of watching him run. You know, from the corner position, he runs a lot of stuff up the middle. So I'm not really involved in a lot of the tackling. So I just kind of have a front row seat of him. And the way that he can shed tackles, like, you can't bring him down with one guy. Like, I don't think it's possible. I don't think one guy can ever bring him down unless you blow right through the line and hit him, like, as he's getting the ball. But once the ball's in his hands and he starts moving downhill, he's so good with his legs and so powerful with his legs that he just makes himself untackable, and he fits through gaps that are, like, non-existent. Like, he like squeezes through, and he, like, morphs his body into the, like, shape of the gap to, like, get through, but without, like, losing speed or losing stride. It's kind of hard to explain, but, like, this is just what I was noticing, like, watching and you don't even see it as much on film. Like, you don't notice as, like, the greatness that he is and that he exemplifies on the field on film as much as you do, like, down there on the field. Like, probably even from the stands you don't notice it, but, like, on the field, watching him run is kind of a treat. Like, honestly, as a football fan, like, as a guy who loves, like, football, and I enjoy watching good football players play football. I enjoy, like, even though he was the reason we lost, like, I enjoyed watching him run the football. Like, I enjoyed watching the things that he was doing, and it was kind of mesmerizing at times. Like, he's just a bull, and, like, just does everything right. They don't run anything super complicated. Like, it's just he's got a great O-line, obviously, like a fantastic O-line. And he's just he's like a magician back there. Like, just the way that like, he must be processing the game at, like, a quarter of the speed of everybody else. Like, it must be so slow in his mind. You know what I mean? Everything must be moving so slow. It, like, almost feels like I'm living in the Matrix when I watch him run the football. It's like, how did he see that? How did he twist his body like that and like not lose stride or not lose speed, or like he twists his body and then all of a sudden, boom, he's right back to running downhill and running people over. Like, he's fast, he's quick, he's agile, he's powerful, he wants to hit you, he's not scared of contact. He's a problem. And like I would say in he's the best running back I've ever seen, like live on a football field, as far as like everything that he does. So, shout out to him and that O-line, but really especially him, because like I think he would do that kind of stuff with any O-line. Obviously their O-line's incredible too, but he just does things that are kind of inhuman, and it just feels like he's just playing at a different speed and seeing things at a different speed than everyone else.
He's one of a kind. That's the thing. When we were playing him, I was like, I expected the line like inside zone, outside zone. He's a great zone run with what they have, and they keep it simple. And it's a combination of when you have really good back and then really good O-line. They elevate each other, because obviously there's things that the line can do to help his game, and there's things that he can do in his game to help make the O-line's job easier and elevate their game. And that's such a hard matchup to try and go against, because then as a defense, like, hey, if I do this thing, maybe the lineman will pick me up, but the RB's going to make the lineman right to then, get gashes for more yards and everything. And that's one thing where when I look at everything that they do and he does with them, it's it is a treat to watch, because as any football fan, you just love to watch good football players play the game, make good hit, make good runs. Oh my God, how do you do that? Because I can only imagine for like the kids are going to be there at the game, like they're going to watch any kids, like sons and sons of friends of sons and all that, who all come to watch. I mean, the little guys, like, they're getting their moments, like, wow, that was amazing. And like, Bryce Harper, I'm sure, is a big moment for that for a lot of kids who come and like, oh wow, I want to do that when I get to play contact football. Like, how do you do that? And then all the fans, I mean, like, it's a great thing to be a fan, but as players in the game and in the league, we got to treat him as opposition. Like, hey, how do we stop this guy? I think he's at that point where it's like you can only limit him, and even then, a lot of things got to go right to have you limit him.
Yeah, and the problem is now when they add Chris back, it just it's hard to stop, because you can't not bite on the play action. Right, like if you're a linebacker, like if you don't bite on the play action, you're fucked. Like, he's just gonna run for 10 yards because you're dropping into coverage. If you do bite on play action, they're just gonna hit the receivers over the middle. So they're tough, man. Like, it's gonna take like everything to go right for us tomorrow to win that game. For anyone to even come close to beating that team is gonna take some sort of minor miracle, or like the Gators running into injury problems, which obviously nobody wants. We want to see everyone healthy, and you want to beat the best to be the best, obviously. But like, they're kind of like, they're just at a different level. Like, with what they can do, and then that's not even talking about their defense. Like, they're just solid everywhere. Like, their secondary is great. Alex Isaac is back to doing the stuff. I think he looks a lot better than he did last year. Even not that he looked bad last year, but it was his first year back in a while. This year he looks fresh. He looks spry when he's doing his stuff. And when I study film, I watch corner technique and stuff like that. And I've watched Alex for a long time, so I know when he's good and I know when he's a little bit off. And I think last year maybe he wasn't up to his normal standards. This isn't a negative to Alex. He's one of the greatest corners to ever play in this league. But this year he looks back to what I'm used to seeing him. He looks fresh. He looks spry. He looks quick. He's reacting well. He looks like the Alex that I've known for a long time. And then you've got these other guys, and of course you've got Gabe down there, who's like playing not all the time either. And they've got a couple other guys.
But he has to play this game, right, to be eligible.
I think so. Yeah, I think he does. But and he'll be there for sure. But yeah, their secondary is elite, and their linebackers are awesome. Like, they're just like they flow so well, they hit so well, they read the play well. Their D line is great. They're the best football team in this league, and it's not even close. Like, if somebody's going to beat them, it's going to be a massive upset. And like, obviously upsets happen. The Cowboys beat the Jets. That's a minor upset. I don't think the Jets are that good, to be honest. I don't. The Jets are not what they used to be, especially without Rayshawn. I don't think that's why I predicted them to win. I don't think it's that big of an upset, but it's going to be very difficult to beat them. Obviously, if I'm being 100% honest, like it's probably going to be us and you playing again in the playoffs. But obviously, I have hope, and we're going to show up to the game and we're going to give it our best and try to beat a football team that's a lot deeper than we are across the board. Especially throwing the football. I think we can match them in the running. LJ is a great running back. Bryce is a great running back. We both have good O-line. So, obviously, I just spent a lot of time talking about Bryce, but I love LJ. I love the way he plays the game. So I feel like we're okay there. I feel like we're just as good at them at receiver too. I think Vardo and Ben are similar. I think Sagan and Xavier are similar, right? I don't think they have a huge advantage there, but they obviously have a huge advantage at quarterback and probably a little bit on O-line, even though I think our O-line's pretty good too. But it will take quite the effort and quite the amount of breaks to go anybody's way to beat that team. But hey, we're gonna show up and we're gonna try to do our best.
The one thing I'll say with the Gators when I look at, they match up really well to every team they face. Again, maybe outright in skill, this, that, whatever. But when you look at say for example, I'll just actually use you guys for an example. This upcoming game, with the way you guys run the ball, with having the pullers at the tackle and the fullback or ace back coming across either left or right, to play against that kind of run, you need to have a defense that's smart enough to know, hey, got to meet the puller as soon as possible and everything. And I can say for us, we didn't have, until I stepped in, I think for DN, that's when I was like, okay, I need to at least take this on to help close the gap. But for teams that don't know that, DNs that are young and inexperienced, they don't really understand how that works. But then when you got guys who come from youth pro level, junior level, who've seen that before, understand it, grown into their bodies, and there isn't as much of a weight mismatch. There's better matchups there to where then things will happen. I think that's one thing where I like with the Gators. They have those matchups, being able to match up against guys who are very experienced, not experienced, outright strength, more skill set, more finesse if you need to, all those different things that each ball player brings. That's one thing that they have. So this is going to be the age-old question where I do think I think it's fair to say the league is overall standards increased, right? Gators have increased that or maintained it. Now it's up to where I think another season to see where everyone else can go to meet them, even see where we can go to meet them. So it'll be a good game here this upcoming Saturday.
Yeah, are you going to be there?
Yes, I'll be doing the live stream, so I'll be there.
Nice.
Wolfpack, depending on the weather, I'm gonna check the weather here. We might do a little tailgates. You might see a pack of wolves there on the side tailgating. Gators love to tailgate our games. I know Irish too, so we're gonna tailgate it back. On that.
That'll be fun.
In that tailgate love, so we're trying to do that here. We're gonna set that up. I'm just trying to line it and see there's a grill and all that. No one has a Blackstone, so I don't think Kurt would let me. I don't think Kurt would let me borrow his Blackstone to have a tailgate as games. I gotta find one here. But
5 p.m. in Airdrie, everybody. The Gators have decided to have their home game at our field. I think mostly because Kurt lives in Airdrie and he just doesn't want to spend the gas money to go to Calgary. But the game is in Airdrie, even though the Gators are the home team. 5 o'clock, it will be live streamed.
So here's a question then. Which locker room are they going to get? Are they going to get Irish's locker room, which is always I've always wanted to be on the right, or are you guys going to go on the left? How is that going to work out?
That's a good question. I do not know the answer to that question, actually. I don't really care. I'm used to being in the left locker room as the away team, so I'd be kind of comfortable in the left side locker room anyways, but I'm sure we'll probably just take our normal locker room. We'll claim it as a home game. So I think there'll be a lot of people there. It's supposed to be not windy, maybe a little bit of rain, not too much, and 18 degrees, which is perfect football weather, right? Just absolutely perfect. I think there'll be I'm really hoping it'll be a good game. I think I think there's just so much talent on the field on both sides of the ball. So if you're around and you want to come watch the only AFL game of the week, come down to AirG, 5 p.m. kickoff. If you can't make it, of course, Omari will be there setting up the live stream, and that'll obviously be really good. I'm really looking forward to it. I love these types of games, right? Like, I love being the underdog. I love big games that you know you're going to be challenged, that you know you're going to be have to be at your best. Like, this is why I play football still. These are the best games. It's the butterflies on Friday night, just kind of waiting, kind of trying to kill the day. You know, my wife likes these types of games because I just clean all day, because I'm just like trying to stay busy, like not like just trying to I'm trying to waste time so like I can get to bed and wake up in the morning. So, house is really clean behind me, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think it'll be great. 2 good coaching staffs, bunch of good players. I think it should be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And I think one thing we gotta address here, because I think I saw in the Facebook chat, is the Cowboys. You know, they I think we all predict them to take that next step, and I think we got to give them their flowers for taking that next step, because I think in the last game they actually completed, I think, checked off a box that they needed. It was a quarterback, and that's the thing now too. When I look back at their team data here for passing away, they had 369 yards of passing against the Jets. So I think that's the best I've in my recent memory here, just of like overall Cowboys performance. So, you know, maybe that's just maybe a hats off to them. I know Chasm doing his hard work in getting that team together and running everything, but I'm sure he's happy to see it, you know, show fruition and all the fruits of, you know, the tough games being blown out and this and that, attendance low, all that stuff. But to see it now come together on the road, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall if they bust back to Grand Prairie on that, because, you know, that's a game where I think going in underdogs and everything, but to leave with a win, come back, play the way they did, like, you got to give the shout to the Cowboys. You know, how about them Cowboys?
Yeah, absolutely. I know them and you guys will be cheering hard for the Gators, because if we win, you're going to have to take the bus trip to Grand Prairie, and they don't get that first round bye. If the Gators win, Grand Prairie gets a first round bye and is hosting a semifinal game, most likely against the Jets again. Yeah, there's a path for Grand Prairie to make it to the finals, which is just insane.
Actually, the way it works, I have the bracket that Becker, the VP, has been putting together. If Gators win, in this case, we'll have a rematch, our run it back rematch, and then on the 16th, out of our game, I guess the highest seed will then play Cowboys, and then the lowest seed will play the Gators. So, if anything, actually, no, that might change, because then it's going to be.
No, it's reseeded. That bracket is wrong, right? So like it shows I think if the 4-5 game is Irish and Pack, I think it shows the winner of that game going to Grand Prairie, but that's wrong. So it's reseeded after, right? So the Gators will face the lowest remaining seed. So if the Bucks beat the Jets somehow, which isn't going to happen, but if the Bucks beat the Jets, then the Bucks would go to the Gators. But in reality, you would assume the Jets are going to easily beat the Bucks, which means you'll have
Jets and Gators.
You'd have Jets going to the 2 team. So you'd have Jets either going to Irish or GP. So if we lose to the Gators tomorrow and we play you guys, it'll be the winner of our game plays the Gators in the semifinal, and the Jets would play Grand Prairie. So that bracket that Becker put out there on the forum is wrong. It's not a bracket system. It's just reseeded. So the Jets will beat the Bucks in the first round, and then the Jets will play the second place team, which will either be us or Grand Prairie. So
I wonder what kind of spells the Bucks can find. What kind of treasure they can dig up. Go full Jack Sparrow and.
It hurts my heart to see where the Bucks are at this year. First time in the history of the Bucks that they haven't won a game. in a season, and that's just sad for me to see. But it's one of the reasons I left was it just there wasn't enough commitment from players, or was zero commitment from coaches, and so I'm hoping to fix that for next year because I would like to go back to the Bucks. Obviously, I'm not going to go back to the Bucks if it's still like this next year, but I'm going to hopefully try to help that out and get some coaches and get some more players and see if we can bring that thing back. But if not, we'll do the free agent thing again. That's kind of fun. All right. I think we covered pretty much everything. Really looking forward to the game tomorrow. Omari, it'll be good to see you out there. Again, 5 p.m. Airdrie. Come on down. It's the Wounded Warriors game. I should mention that too. The Calgary Gators. Kurt's been putting this on for a long time. Kurt just does some great things with that team, from the camps he runs to the toy drive that the Gators do to this Wounded Warriors game. So, come on out, support that. If you can't make it, obviously watch the live stream, comment, be engaged. Like, it's going to be a good game tomorrow, the only game of the week, and there's a lot on the line here. So Gators undefeated record, Irish trying to get the 2 seed, so it should be a really good game. And then we'll be back next week, and we'll do some playoff previews, or maybe the week after because it's a bye week. But we'll be on before the playoffs to do previews. Anything else, Omari, before we go?
I think that's everything. I think the only thing that I think will be nice and juicy for next episode is that ideally the all-star list will come out, so we'll get a good idea of like who's on the all-star list, who's the voting, all that stuff. We'll see what that looks like. So that'd be exciting to see moving forward. Because I think with the way that they have the stats all done this year, it'd be a really good way to see how they can pick them out and see, and then how each one's valued and voted on and all that. So that would be exciting to see what that looks like hereafter. But let's wrap up the AFL 2K25 season and go into postseason. Right, everyone's 0-0, and no one's got anything to lose. We're all 0-0 in that point.
Yep, that's exactly it. Every team makes the playoffs, and hey, maybe the Bucks end up winning the championship. Can you imagine that?
That would be the story. That'd be the story.
0-6, they're 0-6, and then win the championship. All right, appreciate everyone listening. Good luck to both teams tomorrow. Better luck to the Irish and Gators. It's probably ideal to rest a lot of your players. You want to keep them healthy, although the last time that I say that, I don't want to say I told you so don't make me do that. Omari, close us out.
Hey, appreciate everyone tuning in. It's been a great AFL 2025 season. A lot of excitement, lots of ups and downs, all the good things that you expect out of a football season. One thing we've been talking about is maybe we should do a wives takeover podcast where we get a particular wife from each team, and then they all can have an episode of chat. I think that'd be quite hilarious and good for ratings. I'm sure they've all watched Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and they could do the Secret Lives of AFL Wives.
Oh. Okay, this is the first I've heard of this, and I love it.
Everyone's team fees are paid by Netflix. That'd be hilarious. But hey, I appreciate everyone tuning in. Then you can catch all the episodes on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, all the good places there. Like, subscribe, and everything. It's been an exciting time, and make sure you all get your vitamins, drink your water, and we'll see you all in the next one.
Awesome. Thanks, Omar. Thanks, everybody.